Otis culture, fashion and craft.
Hello everyone, you're welcome back to Otis Culture. In today's video, I will be showing us on how to make high and low trending bubu style. It is very easy to make. With me here is 3 yards of Duchess fabric. What I'm doing right now is to first of all fold it into two. Then I'm going to fold it again, making into 4. I need a larger space to make this tutorial. That is why I'm doing it in my living room. I'll be making use of the floor. So I'm going to spread it on the floor like so. I've neatly placed it on the floor, as you can see. One side has a folded edge and one side has opening. The part that has opening is the front, while the part that has the folded edge is the back. The difference between the front and the back is 1 inch. I make sure that I left 1 inch at the front. As you can see, it is not equal. I'm going to label it. That's the front. The part that has the opening, that's the front, and the part that has the folded edge is the back. The difference between the front and the back, the space is 1 inch. That's the center front. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rule my starting line. Next is to measure the neckline. From the folded edge, I measured neck width 4 inches. Neck depth for the back, I measured 1 inch. Then neck depth for the front, I measured 7 inches. It depends on how low you want the V to be. You can make use of any depth of your choice. What I did is to raise the back up in order to be able to mark the front. I mark the neck depth on the front. Then I'm also going to raise the back up. I'm going to rule the starting line. Then I'm also going to mark my neck width as well at the front. What I'm doing now is to also mark the neck width, which is 4 inches. I first of all mark out 1 inch away from the center front. Then I measured the neck width 4 inches. So the next thing to do is to connect my neckline. I'll raise it up, then I'll connect the front neckline as well. After that, I'm going to cut out the neckline. I'm going to lift up the back to cut the neckline for the back. Then I'm going to cut out the neckline for the front. Next thing to do, I notch the center back. I notch it, as you can see. Then I move to the other edge. I notch it as well. I notch it, as you can see. So I'm going to open it up. Before I open it up, I'm going to notch this lower part as well, as you can see. I notch it, then I'm going to open it up. Please pardon my voice, I have serious cough. Please pardon my voice. So the next thing I've done here is to open it up. As you can see, the notch are the lower parts. So the next thing that I'm doing here right now is to mark 1 inch at the center front. It's not going to have joining by the side, it is only the center front that will have joining and the shoulders. So I'm going to rule out the 1 inch. I'm ruling out the 1 inch. That 1 inch is the same allowance that I'm going to use to sew at the center front. So I'm ruling the 1 inch. From that notch part, I'm going to measure about 3 inches away from the notch part. 3 inches. Then I'll move to the center front. For my slit, I want it to be as high as 12 inches. You can use between 12 to 15 inches. It depends on how high you want the front to be. So from the mark, I'm going to connect it with a curve to meet the 3 inches mark that I measured away from the notch part at the lower part. I'm going to nicely connect the curve to meet the 12 inches mark at the center front. So after that, I'm going to cut it out. You follow the markings to cut it out. After that, I'm going to spread it on the floor like so. I'm going to spread it on the floor. You can see the reason why I use the floor. The table that I have in my office won't be able to accommodate the wideness of the dress because it is 3 yards of fabric that I'm using. I'm spreading it out neatly. So from the notch at the center back, I'm going to rule out a straight line. I'm going to rule out a straight line. That's my center back. So I'm going to bring the center front at one edge. I'm going to bring it to the center back. I'm going to fold it to meet the line I just created at the center back. I'm going to fold it like so. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. I'm adjusting my camera so that you can see the dress properly. So I'm going to fold the other side as well to meet with the center back. After that, I'm going to mark my shoulder slants. Like I said, we are going to have joining at the center front and the shoulder only. The side is not going to have joining. There will be no side seam. It's just the center front and the shoulder. Next thing to do is to mark my shoulder slant. I'm going to measure 2 inches. Then I'm going to connect from the neck width. I'm going to connect it to the 2 inches for my shoulder slants. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. I'm going to measure 2 inches away from the shoulder. Then from that 2 inches, I'm going to connect it to the neck width. Next is to cut it out. I'm going to cut out on the other side as well. After cutting the shoulder slant, so the next thing to do, I'm going to measure my sleeve opening, where my hand is going to come out from. I'm going to measure about 9 inches. Then I'm going to notch it. I'll move to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure about 9 inches. Then I'm going to notch it as well. The sleeve opening depends on how wide you want it to be. You can measure it on your body to determine the wideness. Then whatever you desire, you mark it. I mark 9 inches. Then I'm going to notch it. The next step is to join the dress. It is very simple. I'm just going to join it at the center front and at the shoulder. So the next thing to do, I'm going to take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew 1/2 inch, and I'm going to stop at that 9 inches that I marked. I'm going to sew 1/2 inch. I'm marking out the seam that I'm going to sew. From the neckline, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch and stop at the 9 inches mark. I'll move to the other side. I'm going to repeat the same thing. From the neckline, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch, and I'm going to stop at that 9 inches mark where I notch. So the remaining opening is going to be where my hand is going to come out from. After that, I'm going to sew the center front. The 1 inch mark that I marked at the center front, I'm going to pin the 2 openings together. I'm going to pin it together. Then I'll take to my sewing machine. I'm going to sew 1 inch straight down. After that, I'm going to hem the lower parts, and I'm also going to finish the neckline as well. Then I'm going to show us the final look. The dress is as simple as ABC. This is the final outcome of today's tutorial, guys. This is the final outcome. As you can see, it is very easy to make. We've come to an end of today's tutorial. If you find my tutorial helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below if you've not done so. I upload weekly tutorial on my channel. Also click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Until I come your way next, please stay safe and remain blessed. Love you all. Bye. Please don't mind my pets. He's a very stubborn dog.